Hi, I'm Mr. Baznet. This is High School Survival Tips, and today I'll be giving you the top 10 tips on how to write a really good essay. Essay writing is super important. You'll be doing it in a lot of your classes in high school and a lot more if you're going to university or college. So I'll give you 10 tips that sometimes as teachers we don't have the time or don't take the time to actually teach our students. I'll try to actually give you more videos on some of these points later on, and I'll put the links in the description below. Let's take a look right now at the top 10 essay writing tips. Number 10, don't use I in your essays. Always stick to the third person. I will look at, I thought that, no. You're now in high school. Talk about it as someone from an outside perspective looking in, and always state everything as a matter of fact. Don't use fillers like in this essay. Go straight into it. Don't say the essay will talk about it, just talk about it. Go right into it. Number 9. Use transition words. Transition words are an amazing way to let your reader know where they're at in your piece of writing. For example, if I'm reading your second argument in your essay, let the reader know. Next. Furthermore, consequently, just let me know that you're switching. You have tons of different lists that exist online with examples of a bunch of different transition words. So go and take a few that you want to make your own, and then you can repeat those throughout all of your essays in that sense. I'll actually put a link in the description for a good website with good transition words. Number 8. Make an outline. It is so important to actually plan your essay before writing it. It allows you to see your own mistakes and retweak all of your arguments before you start writing it. There's nothing more frustrating than writing a whole essay or a whole argument and then finding out it's trash afterwards. Plus, if you have to go see your teacher with your outline, it allows him or her to actually give you some much more constructive feedback. As a student, I used to not make any outlines and not plan it, and my essays, when I read them now, were trash. I saw it later on, the value of planning when I was in university, and it saved me so much time in the long run, and it made my essays a lot better. So make sure you do that. Plan it out, outline your essays beforehand. Number 7, write a good introduction. Your introduction is so important. Your teacher will be reading your introduction as the first part of their marking. So if your introduction is trash, it won't set a good vibe, and your teachers will already have that mindset of like, ooh, this is a rough start. So you want to make sure you have a strong introduction that really carries out the point that you're trying to make. I have another video that's coming up that tells you exactly on how to write an amazing introduction. In short, should have a good hook that captures the attention of your reader to make sure that they want to read further. That thesis statement that tells me exactly what's the point that you want to carry out through the whole essay. Number 3, you want a divided topic. Make sure you tell me exactly what are the 3 arguments that I'll be reading inside of your essay itself. A good introduction has all 3 of those things, and they do it well. Number 6, a good conclusion is also very important. So as a teacher, usually what I'll do is I'll read your introduction first, and then I'll skip to your conclusion and read that right afterwards, and then I'll go read the rest of your essay. So your conclusion is almost as important as your introduction itself. You want to make sure that you restate all your different arguments. You're reminding your reader of what they just read in that exact same order, and then finally you want to restate your thesis just to bring it all back together. If you really want to make it even extra, you can always do an opening, but that's a bit more complicated, and it's not all teachers that prefer that. So make sure you do check with your teacher in that sense. I'll have a video specifically for how to write a good conclusion coming up in the next few weeks. So make sure you subscribe, make sure you like this, and turn on the little bell for the notifications as well. I'll make sure you have good videos that go further into this point. Number 5, make sure you understand exactly the formatting that your teacher wants you to use. Most of the schools now use the MLA format, so that's a way to actually produce your whole document, how to use your citations, how to use footnotes if they want any footnotes, how to do your title page if you need a table of content, and how to do your bibliography or works cited list. There's a specific format that your teacher wants you to use. They're easy points as long as you know what's the format and you just implement it within your document. Number 4, make sure you check in with your teacher multiple times. Yes, it can be a bit annoying for the teacher and yourself, but in the long run, it shows the teacher that you care and that you value the whole process. Make sure that you go with specific questions for your teacher. There is nothing more annoying when a student just gives off your essay. What's to improve? I don't want to have to read your whole essay multiple times. I don't have the time, unfortunately, and that's the reality of teachers. So make sure you have something specific. For example, if you have your outline, you can go in through your outline. How do you feel my 3 arguments are? That's something specific. I have the time to read it and give you specific feedback straight away. It reassures me as a teacher that you have not plagiarized. That's actually coming from you. Number 3, you need to support with quotes. Yes. That means that you need to research. You're in high school at this point, so that means that you want to use the words of experts. Make sure that you have some factual information from books, scientific articles that supports what you're saying. Make sure you also use the format. I'll have a video that's specifically about how to use quotes, how to actually implement them within your text in a good way to make sure that you have the best arguments there are. Number 2, I don't think it's going to come as a surprise, but it's your thesis. Your thesis is so important within an essay. It's the number 1 point that you're trying to prove throughout the whole of the writing piece. If you have a poor thesis, it's going to end up with a very poor essay. Opposite to, strong thesis usually will lead to a good and strong essay. Again, I'll have a video that's specifically about this. Make sure it has all the different components required. Who better to know this than your teacher? So make sure your thesis is one thing that your teacher approves and gives you feedback upon. Just before giving you my number 1 point, make sure that you like, subscribe, and comment below. It helps me out so much as a YouTuber and allows me to know exactly what you want also as the public. Number 1. Make sure that your first argument is your strongest. Yes, I know a lot of teachers, like I said, that will read your introduction, skip your conclusion, read your first argument, and a lot of the time, a lot of teachers will just stop there. That means that they'll just assume that your second and third argument is about the exact same as your first argument. So your first argument is extremely important. You need to make sure that the structure of the paragraph is good. Some teachers require different things, but usually you'll have your intro sentence that gives exactly what the argument is. You'll want to make sure that your argument is very well explained. Then go into your examples that does a state, prove, and explain. Meaning that you're stating what your sub-argument is, you're giving me the exact quote that supports what you're saying is true, and then you're explaining how this quote actually supports that statement. And you'll be doing this 3 times within your argument. So that's it. Those were my top 10 tips on how to write a good essay. I've got some more videos that you can watch, and I'll try to give you more videos that are more specific to those points to give you more quality information on those things. And I'll have these links in the description below to make sure you have access to all of that.